Welcome to the Town of the Rain into Heaven 6th broadcast. This is your host, Keith, Tony, and Alice is along for the ride. How you doing, Alice and Tony?
I'm doing good. Good evening, everyone.
Hello, everyone.
All right. Tonight, I think last week we were talking about how the Hindus had influenced the country, completely influenced the country, and were able to take down the Ten Commandments. Well, I started looking in my archives and I couldn't find it. So I go right online, boom, there it is. Okay, so they took it down for a while back in 2006, I believe, and it's back up again. So we're going to talk a little bit about beliefs and religion and how it affects everything, because what a lot of people don't understand is on the quest for the New World Order, whoever has the oldest belief is the one who gets the privilege of being the world religion. So that's why the Illuminati goes into Horus, the Eye of Horus and all that, because it's older than Catholicism. And then the Muslims want to make themselves the world religion, and then the Catholics want to make themselves the world religion. So this whole fight over a new world order has been on the religious side of this. It really has nothing to do with politics, and it has really nothing to do with money. Everybody is focused on the money, and everybody's focused on politics, like when Trump got elected, we avoided a nuclear war and all this other stuff, which I think was kind of fabricated, by the way. But the real fight is with the religions. Now, do you guys remember when we had that the oldest world religion on our archives at the Rain in Heaven Society Temple? And then the website got attacked and pretty much knocked down?
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, you remember that? It was we had a media wiki up there, and it got 40,000 hits in one day. Pretty much knocked it down, and someone was trying to be a member, to get in there. So they were obviously attacking them. We're going to tell you how or why tonight, why that was attacked and why it was shut down. And I never brought it back up. I didn't bring it up because I knew that the subject matter of the website itself was very highly controversial. I knew that there were some Catholics that got really upset over it because they believe that they're the only systemized religion. And if you're not a Catholic, you go to hell. If you're not a Christian, you go to hell. If you have a woman in charge of your church, you're a brothel, or not a brothel, but a coven, and you're evil. When a lot of people don't realize that a woman used to be a head of the Catholic Church. They don't understand that. There was a woman that was always a woman pope. But people will never bring that out. They'll never do that because they don't want people to believe and know that, and the importance of a woman on earth and how it all comes together. If you'll notice that the Catholics and the Muslims really don't think highly of women within their organizations. And that's not me saying it, and that's not a criticism. That's just the way it is there. So we were talking about the Hindus being able to take out the Ten Commandments in this country. Well, there was a big hoopla about the Ten Commandments coming down, and the Christians were going crazy because they said, well, this is a Christian nation, and it's the Constitution is the law of the land, and all this stuff. So let me tell you what I'll bring up a couple of cases I came upon on the internet, and it was Green versus Haskell. It was a county board. It said the Ohio motto is not an establishment of religion, and neither is the Ten Commandments monument on the front lawn of the Haskell County Courthouse. This is just one little case. The monument does not in any fashion represent the setting up of a state-sponsored church. It not involve the government's power of coercion to force anyone to believe in any particular religion's beliefs, or to join any particular religion. And it does not in any way lend government aid to one religion over another, which is kind of weird, isn't it? And does not lend in any way lend government aid to one religion over another. Well, why bring that statement up if it has nothing to do with a religion? Right? Does that make any sense? You see how they screwed up in the case, the lawyers did?
Yep, that's a good point.
Okay, in short, the monument does not create, involve, or concern an establishment of religion. Well, if it didn't, then why would you say, and it does not in any way lend government aid to one religion over another, if it had nothing to do with religion? So anybody with any sense would know that that particular brief and this particular motion and stance, you would lose this case. So somebody folded. Because essentially Moses' face is right on the front of the Supreme Court. And the Ten Commandments is still in the Supreme Court. Matter of fact, I think it's right behind them when they're sitting there in session. The Ten Commandments is. It didn't leave there. It just left everywhere else. So in order to beat this, they had to bring in an older religion, which was the Hindu religion. So one amicus curiae brief, okay, and that's called a friend of the court. In other words, if somebody wants to involve themselves or an opinion or whatever, they can file an amicus curiae brief into a particular case as a friend of the court. You're not trying to be a part of the conflict. You're just coming in and saying, here's another point of view that the court may want to consider. And that's basically all it is. Now, in Tampa, Florida, this is the Hindu American Foundation, HAF, H-A-F, spearheaded the filing of an amicus curiae, friend of the court, brief with the United States Supreme Court in a case involving the placement of a permanent monument of the Ten Commandments on government property. The brief filed December 13, 2004, in one of the most widely anticipated cases being heard by the Supreme Court this year, supports the position that the monument violates the separation of church and state guaranteed by the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. Now, excuse me, guys, what do the Hindus have anything to do with the First Amendment and the U.S. Constitution? They're not even parties to it.
Right.
Okay, so HAF garnered the support of 9 co-signatories to file the brief on behalf of the millions of Hindus, Buddhists, and Jains, J-A-I-N-S, in the United States. The HAF brief is perhaps the first to provide non-Judeo-Christian perspective on this issue. Now, what is this having to do with Judeo-Christianity? When there's Christianity and there's a separate Judeo-Christianity, what did that have to do with anything? So the case originally brought by Thomas Van Orden against Rick Perry, the governor of Texas, in 2003, asked for the removal of the Ten Commandments monument from the Texas state capitol grounds. Now, Thomas Van Orden was more than likely, and I'm not saying he is, but he was more than likely a communist. Because communists they can't stand anything that even remotely may be associated with religion or a belief in anything other than a state. So essentially what communists believe is they're atheists, but really what they are is idol worshippers. They create the state. The state is all there is. It's the end-all be-all, and it's God to communists, and that's nothing more than idol worshipping. So it is a religious thing anyway. They just don't see it that way. They're a little bit twisted. This is the Supreme Court decided to hear the case after the Fifth Circuit Court of Federal Appeals ruled that the monument could remain in place. The Supreme Court decided to hear the case after the Fifth Circuit Federal Court of Appeals ruled that the monument can remain in place. Now, why would the Supreme Court do that? Doesn't make any sense. The 34-page brief was signed by HAF, Hindu American Foundation, Arsha Vidya Pitnam, and I can't pronounce the rest of this, Hindu International Council Against Defamation, Hindu University of America, Navya Shastra. Now, why would the Hindus want to get rid of the Ten Commandments? What do they care? All of a sudden, when the Ten Commandments went down, the country seemed to have lost every bit of morality that it ever had. Who benefits? The people that benefit would be number one, the Hindus, because now they have themselves established as the oldest religion, even older than the Illuminati. They also have themselves established older than the Catholics and the Christians within the country, because the United States, Manhattan Island, was to be the epicenter of the New World Order. And that's how they all set it up. Because, believe it or not, guys, 501c3 churches have the authority of everything you could possibly imagine. You can take court cases there. You can anything that comes from a 501c3 or a non-501c3 unincorporated association that deals in religion is the law of the land. A lot of people don't know that. So that would mean that the law of the land claim by the Constitution is not necessarily clear. It's extremely vague, because it doesn't specify that any type of church or 501c3, which I've seen this happen before. I don't know about you guys, but I've seen it happen before. People will go to a church, and whatever that church decides, the courts have to go with, because there is a separation of church and state. A lot of people don't realize it. Now, let's throw a big monkey wrench in this thing, okay, on this whole fight between the Hindu, the Muslim, the Illuminatis, the Catholic, the Christian, all of them. Matter of fact, the oldest religion so far that has been found on record would be Zoroastrianism. And this is the information we had on our website, which was attacked from 40 to 45,000 times in one day, with people filling out memberships, wanting to be members, in other words, opening up accounts. And that's why they said, well, you need to take that down. It was even said that we had violated a regulation, or we were in violation, and we're criminals and we're in violation of this, this, and this. That's what we were told. And this was over somebody else attacking the website. We had nothing to do with it. But we were in violation. Because we had Zoroastrianism, or more natively Mazdan-Yazna, is one of the world's oldest religions, combining a cosmogonic dualism. And I'm gonna butcher this, so just bear with me. And a chaptological monotheism in a manner unique among the major religions of the world. Ascribed to the teachings of the Iranian prophet Zoroaster. Now the Iranians are claiming the oldest religion. Okay? Or Zarathustra. He exalted their deity of wisdom, Ahura Mazda. Now you know where Mazda came from, right? The car Mazda, M-A-S or M-A-Z-D-A, wise Lord, as its supreme being. Leading characteristics such as messianism, heaven and hell, and free will are said to have influenced the other religious systems, including Second Temple Judaism. Oops, are you saying that Judaism is not the oldest religion in the world? Gnosticism. Oh my God, you mean that's not the oldest religion in the world? Christianity. Oh my God, you're saying Christianity is not the oldest. And Islam. Holy, Muslims are not the oldest religion in the world. It was influenced by Zoroastrianism. With possible roots dating back to the 2nd millennium BCE, Zoroastrianism enters recorded history in the 5th century BCE, and included a Mithraic Median prototype and a Zervanist Sassanid successor. It served as the state religion of the pre-Islamic Iranian empires. So this is way before them. From around 1600 BCE to 650 CE, Zoroastrianism was suppressed from the 7th century onwards following the Muslim conquest of Persia. Recent estimates place the current number of Zoroastrians at around 2.6 million, with the most living in India and Iran. Besides Zoroastrian diaspora, the older Mithraic faith, Yadnism, and still practiced amongst the Kurds. Now, do you guys understand why the Kurds, not you and Tony, or Tony and Alice, not you guys, why the Kurds, I'm talking to the audience, why the Kurds were destroyed, why they keep getting gassed, and why they keep getting attacked? They're trying to rid that religion so that they can put theirs in as the oldest. And whoever has the oldest religion wins. Pretty sick, isn't it?
Sure is.
So they're killing people just to get rid of their religion. Okay, then you have the religious philosophy of Zoroaster divided in the early Iranian god. The most important texts of the religion are those of Avesta, the Zoroastrian's holy book, In Zoroastrianism, the creator Ahura Mazda, through the Spenta Menu, good spirits, bounteous immortals. Okay, remember the immortal gods. All right, which was brought into the Illuminatus one, where you have Isis and Zeus and all those guys, right? Okay, they all came into that, and then is an all-good father of Asha, truth, order, and justice. All-good father. Does this sound familiar to everybody? In opposition to Dru's falsehood, deceit. Oh, there's your devil, D-R-U-J. And no evil originates from him. So no evil originates from truth, order, and justice, father of Asha. And so isn't that in the Christian religion today? God is all good, no evil comes from him. And you have the devil, and that's his opposition, falsehood and deceit, and the whole deal. He and his works are evident to humanity through the 6 primary Amisha Spentas, and the host of other Yazdatas, through whom worship of Mazda is ultimately directed. Spenta Menu, adjoined unto truth, opposed to spirit's opposite. Angra Manu and its forces, born of Akim Mana, evil thinking. Okay, so it was based on to make the world progress towards perfection. Everybody just has this thing about perfection. I don't understand why. If you're good enough to come from heaven, you should be good enough to get back in. I mean, you weren't perfect when you got here, so what's the difference? I don't get it. Zoroastrianism has no major theological divisions, though it is not uniform. Modern era influences having a significant impact on the individual and local beliefs, practices, values, and vocabulary, sometimes merging with tradition, in other cases displacing it. In Zoroastrianism, the purpose of life, or in life, is to be among those who renew the world. How many times have we heard that? To make the world progress towards perfection. Its basic maxims include Humata, Hukta, Hubershata, which mean good thoughts, good words, good deeds. Number 2, there is only one path, and that is the path of truth. Number 3, do the right thing, because it is the right thing to do, and then all beneficial rewards will come to you also. So, here we go again. Now, you'll see the Muslim religion does the same thing. You'll see that the Catholic religion does the same thing. Even the Orthodox religions do the same thing. The most important texts of the religion are those of Avesta, which includes the writings of Zoroaster known as the Gathas, enigmatic poems that define the religion's precepts in the Yasna, the scripture. So the scripture means Yasna. The full name by which Zoroaster addressed the deity is Ahura, which makes me wonder about the whole Star Trek thing, right? Lieutenant Ahura? I was wondering if somebody was trying to tell somebody something, right? This is the Lord Creator and Mazda, supremely wise. And that's a pretty decent card by now. He proclaimed that there is only one God. the singularity creative and sustaining force of the universe. He also stated that human beings are given the right of choice, and because of cause and effect, are also responsible for the consequences of their choices. Zoroastria's teachings focused on responsibility and did not introduce the devil per se. The contesting force of Ahura Mazda was called the Angra Menu, or angry spirit. Post-Zoroastrian scripture introduced the concept of Ahriman, the devil, which was effectively a personification of Angra Menu. So, folks, whether you like it or not, that is where all your beliefs come from. That will pretty much pull the rug right out from underneath everybody, wouldn't it?
For sure.
And, that's kind of what I'm known for. So what we're saying is the oldest religion, all right? Now, let's go back to the basic belief that we have today, okay? Now, women are looked upon as second class. They should stay home and do their thing. They are looked upon as nuns instead of priests. They're kept at bay. They are looked upon as you got to wear a burqa. You shouldn't show yourself. They're looked upon as that it's okay to beat them. It's okay to, in some religion, it's okay to cut off their clitoris. It's okay to cut off their nipples. It's okay to sew them up. It's okay to do a lot of things. Huh?
Basically it's okay to mutilate them.
Mutilate them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's okay to do a bunch of stuff to them. Well, I'm saying it's not okay. It's not okay to do that.
No, it's not.
I'll tell you why. According to the way all this works, and let's talk about what we talk about today. Okay, let's just go to today. We don't even have to go back to Adam and Eve. We don't have to go back to chapter 1 Genesis. We don't even have to reference the scriptures today. Let's go to what we know. We know one thing. We know that a body has a spirit that weighs 21 grams. That is an absolute fact. When people die, every person dies. Every individual dies. They weigh less 21 grams. No matter how big they are, no matter how small they are, no matter who they are less 21 grams. So we know a spirit leaves. We know a soul leaves. Now, guys, think about this. How did your soul get into your body? We can go into the basics, which is that 21 grams came from somewhere that they can't account for anything else. They can't even account that for air in the lungs. Or any defecation or any urination. Nothing. It's always 21 grams. Now, that 21 grams got in there somehow. So when two people come together and they conceive a child, that child weighs a little more than 21 grams. So obviously the man, the spirit didn't come through the man. The spirit came through the woman and resides within her womb for 9 months. I mean, according to the Democrats, they don't have any, they don't have any constitutional rights until they have their first breath. That's all good and well. It's a good way to justify genocide. However, the bottom line is it does come through the woman. The woman, the spirit of her child, that's obviously separate from her, comes into that fetus and resides there and grows for 9 months. And it's not like when they have their first breath that a spirit automatically comes in them. That's not what's going on. Because children they do react while they're in the womb. When they have partial birth abortions, those children are fighting off whoever's trying to cut out their organs. They're trying to protect themselves. They move. They breathe liquid. You breathe liquid for 9 months. And the Navy has created a liquid you can breathe, so they can dive deeper in the ocean. And that's an absolute fact. It does exist. So we know for a fact that the first breath of a child, when the lungs are created, is they breathe liquid. So they are breathing. It had nothing to do with air. And how many women, Alice, to look at another woman and say, you're pregnant? How do you know that?
Yes, they see the glow.
They see the glow. The glow of that innocent spirit. Or innocent soul. So, if a woman has a natural connection to heaven, why in the hell would you put her in charge, or not put her in charge, of a temple? She has a natural connection. And why would you call that evil? And why would you call that a covenant? That makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. We're not saying that the woman is barking out orders. We're saying that she is the pathway to heaven, to the Most High, to speak through. He speaks through already. And that's why when you put a man and woman together and they're married, that's a very strong force. You have to separate. If you want to divide and conquer, you have to get her mad at him or him mad at her, or something of that nature to split them apart. Then you can conquer. But if they're together, you can't conquer that, man. That's a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, buddy.
So, folks, think and get over your prejudices and understand that the Reign of the Heaven Society Temple does what it does because it's what makes sense, that we understand today, that we know today. Now, people will say, well, that's no way, there's no way there's spirits. Okay, go on YouTube and go look at all of the video evidence of thousands upon thousands of videos that have seen spirits. There's TV shows about it, talking about ghosts, talking to ghosts, seeing things move, seeing images on screens. Not all that can be faked, guys. Some can, but not all of it. So everyone, guys, get over it. You have an afterlife. You have a soul, whether you know it or not, whether you believe it or not. And if you want to believe in the state and the state's your God, just keep your idol worship to yourself, please, and quit shoving your religion down everybody else's throat. Because that's all communism is. It's just another religion. It's just idol worship religion. So the people can control the deity. A certain few people can control the deity, and the rest of the people have to do what you tell them. I mean, it's just a scam. And the deity is being the state. Happy Thanksgiving, folks, if you celebrate that. Hope you have a good turkey day. And please do not bring up your politics during this holiday, because if somebody believed in Hillary and the other one believed in Trump, you guys are going to have a fight. It's going to be knocked down, drag out.
Might get indigestion.
You'd be seeing turkey flying across the room.
Yeah.
Food fight.
It's a huge fight. Okay, so just understand that the Reign of Heaven Society Temple is connected to the original Yahushua and Mary Magdalene. That is in scriptures, and we do believe in one Father, and we also, or we call ourselves, or it was deemed Yahushuans because that was his name. And we normally have a woman in charge of the temple because of these reasons that we know is in fact. So trust, guys, we're not a coven. We don't worship devils, and women are not evil. Okay, they're not evil beasts that they're supposed to be treated like dirt. They're somebody's mother, they're somebody's grandmother, they're somebody's sister, they're somebody's wife, they're somebody's best friend. Have a little respect for people, regardless of who they are. That concludes this sixth broadcast of the Reign of the Heavens, Town of the Reign of the Heavens. What do you want to talk about next week, Tony? Or do you just want to figure it out as we go?
Yeah, sometimes topics, really good topics pop up, between now and the next radio show. So let's keep this one open and see what happens.
Okay. All right, good to go. Thank you for tuning in, and believe me, a lot of people are starting to listen. I'm getting a lot of hits and recordings every day, and email. So we are getting a lot of listeners, and we do appreciate you listening. See you next week.
Goodbye, everyone.